First thing to do when we import a drawing is rotate it the right way if it's the wrong way. Go up to where it says image, go to image rotate. In my case it's 90 degrees counterclockwise. I left click on that. Okay, so it's the right way up. What I'd like to do now is to make a duplicate layer of that original imported drawing. Reason for that, if anything goes wrong, we can always go back to that original import. I would like to click on the little eye icon to the left of that bottom background image. And I would like now to create another layer. Click on layer, new layer. This layer is going to be called a gradient layer. So I click on OK, it creates a new layer. You can see here on the column here to the right, bottom middle, is that gradient layer, our new layer. Well, we're going to create a gradient. So to create our gradient, there's a gradient tool here on the left-hand column. You can see down here, left hand, just at the middle. If I click on that, in fact, if I leave my cursor over it, it will tell you exactly what it is, gradient tool. So a couple of things to understand here is the gradient will gradate between the two colors chosen here at the bottom of this tool set. I'm going to go up to the top. You can see we have linear gradient, radial gradient, and all sorts of other interesting gradients. We want linear gradient in this case. So I'm going to left click and drag up a little bit, let's say about halfway, and I get that effect there. You could, if you wanted, I'm going to Control Z to undo my last command. You could left click and drag up higher to get that if you wish, so you get the gradient more even. I'm going to Control Z. I would like what I had closer to the original effort, this here. Okay, so what's happened there is my gradient tool has completely covered the drawing underneath it. You can see here on the right hand column. What I'm going to do, go to the middle of this layer here, left click and drag so it goes in the middle between background and background copy. These two little highlighted lines appear. I left click and let go, and you can see it's gone underneath these two drawings. To reveal the gradient, I'm going to delete some of the background copy layer so we can see the gradient underneath. To do that, there's a number of different tools we can use between Lasso, Magic Wand, and the Eraser tool. I'd like to show, first of all, the Magic tool, Magic Wand tool. If I click on that to select it, normally you have a tolerance on that Magic Wand tool for the default of about 30. So let me click in this space here between the two characters with it at 30. I click it and you can see these marching ants. That means it's going to delete everything inside the boundaries of the marching ant. Let me hit delete on my keyboard, and a bit of a disaster there. It's deleted too much of the drawing. So Control Z. Let me show you how to improve that tolerance where it doesn't grab so much. I'm going to select the Lasso tool and just click in my image here to stop the marching ants. Let me click back on my Magic Wand tool and get the selection for tolerance lower, let's say to about 10. I click on Enter to select that 10. Click in the same place and you can see the marching ant. It's a much smaller area. I'm going to click on my keyboard on the delete key or del key. There you go. So I can start to see the gradient underneath. Let me click a little bit underneath again. There we go. So slowly I can start to delete certain parts of the drawing. I clicked there and it spilt a lot over into parts of the drawing that I want to keep. So I'm not sure about that. Let me check. Let me hit delete. That's not too bad, but it's deleted parts of the dragon's tongue. So Control Z. I'm going to show you another tool before I delete any more of the background, and I'm going to change the contrast of the drawing by going to Image, Adjustments, Brightness Contrast. And Brightness Contrast, I'm first of all going to move the contrast by left clicking and dragging on this contrast bar here to the positive of about 88. You can see the drawing changing in the severity of the line. So there I am at 100, and I'm going to take the brightness down a little bit as well, and then hit OK. Let me show you another tool here. It's a navigation tool. Under the windows, near the top in the middle here, I left click and I go drag all the way down with my mouse to where it says Navigator. Now this is a tool that you should have open all the time. It's one I use an awful lot for the simple reason that I can quickly zoom in and out like so. So keep that on every time you use Photoshop. It's a great tool. Now I'd like to go a little closer to some of this and do some of the details. There's another way to clean up the drawing. Magic Wand sometimes doesn't always do the trick, even when the tolerance is low. So here I am in this area here. I click and that seems to be okay for the tongue. Hit delete. Click again. You can see it's spilt over there inside. So I'm going to get my lasso tool and deselect again and go even closer to that area. The line is just too light, even if I try and take the contrast down. So I'm going to use a lasso tool that I just selected there. And I can cut around this like so. Another cool little lasso tool that you can use, if you right click on the lasso tool, you've also got this magnetic lasso, and that when you click actually tries to stick itself to the lines that it sees automatically. It's pretty good. It can be very jagged though. I don't always like it, its effect. It doesn't always work for me. I'm going to let go there by hitting. So I've let go of the left click. I hit enter and it just joins everything up, and I hit delete. So that's another interesting little tool. Let me try the other lasso tool here. The other lasso, I right click, it says polygonal lasso. Let's see what this does. So that doesn't really work for what I want, but it might. I'm going to hit enter. There we go. It seals that. Hit delete. So different lasso tools there. I'm just going to go for the regular lasso tool and continue to block out big areas. So here's a way I can use it quickly to get rid of large areas quickly. There we go. So all that underneath there, and up here where the feather is on the back of his tail, I'm gonna go around there, hit delete. Magic Wand tool again. See what it gets here. Hit delete. I've got a nice big chunk, but you can see it leaves a lot of mess. And it's because the unevenness of the lighting. When I took a picture, I just used a regular cell phone